Alright, what's going on, everybody? So recently I started watching Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, the Inuyasha spin-off that premiered last season. Today I'll be sharing with you guys my thoughts on the first 10 episodes that are currently available in English. Last Friday I was bored and decided to start watching the show despite not being a fan of Inuyasha. In fact, I used to hate that show, and I even mentioned it in my top 10 worst anime video that I did a few years ago. Growing up, I would catch bits and pieces of the show whenever my parents allowed me to stay up. I wasn't allowed to watch Adult Swim when I was younger, so I never saw a full episode until much later on in life. I decided to give the show another shot when it started airing on Toonami back in 2012. And unfortunately, I couldn't stomach more than 4 episodes. That show didn't age well at all. I remember the show being very slow and boring. I hated the romance in the show, and most of all, I hated the characters, especially Inuyasha and Kagome. Now, I know some of you guys might be thinking, why did you bother watching this show if you didn't like the original? Why make this video? And the answer is simple. I decided to watch this show because I knew that there was a small chance that I might like it more than the main series. It wouldn't be the first time I initially didn't like a series but enjoyed the spin-off. Most recently, that was the case for me and A Certain Magical Index. I wasn't a fan of that show at first, but then I fell in love with the Railgun spin-off series. Then I decided to go back and finish Index, and now I appreciate it way more than I did before despite its flaws. There also might be people out there that feel the exact same way that I do about the original series that might be curious about the new spin-off series. I just want to provide another opinion from someone who's outside of the Inuyasha fanbase. Who knows, I might convince someone to give the show a shot, or possibly avoid it. Before I share my opinion on what I've seen so far, I just want to make it clear that I went into the series with an open mind. Yashahime is centered on the twin daughters of Sasamaru, Setsuna and Towa, as well as Moroha, the daughter of Inuyasha and Kagome. The story takes place in the feudal era, where one day Setsuna and Towa are separated from each other during a forest fire. Towa is then thrown into a portal and brought to present-day Japan, where she is adopted and raised by Kagome's brother Sota. 10 years later, Setsuna, Moroha, and a demon called Mistress Three Eyes are teleported to Japan. They work together to defeat the demon, but Towa soon finds out that Setsuna has lost her memories, as well as the ability to sleep. Filled with guilt over her sister's situation, Towa decides to return to the feudal era with Setsuna and Moroha to recover Setsuna's memories. Yashahime's story seems to follow the simple hero's journey format, with Towa and Setsuna refusing to call to action when meeting the Tree of Time Spirit. The spirit asks them to defeat their father as well as another powerful demon named Kinimaru. Throughout the show, the girls take on jobs from the demon corpse dealer Jinbei. As they continue to work together, they eventually find themselves dealing with one of Kinimaru's subordinates known as the Four Perils. The story's decent so far, and I think it's worth mentioning that I wasn't too lost despite having little knowledge about the world of Inuyasha. The show provides the audience with the bare minimum they would need to know in order to understand its story. However, I'm hesitant to recommend this show as a starting point for newcomers because there are characters, events, and lore from the main series constantly being referenced. For longtime Inuyasha fans, there seems to be a lot here that you'll find intriguing and enjoyable. A large portion of the first episode recaps Inuyasha and Kagome's fight against Roothead. I'm sure that this will serve as a nice refresher for fans. Outside of the first episode, we don't get to see a lot of Inuyasha and Kagome. There are a couple of mysteries that are established early on, one of which involves the Tree of Time, and the other is in regards to Moroha and what has happened to her parents. It's revealed that Moroha was given away by her parents and entrusted to Jinbei for some unknown reason. I might not care about Inuyasha or Kagome, but I am interested to know why they gave her up. Moroha is a much more likable character compared to her parents, and to be honest, she's my favorite out of the entire cast. I really like how lively and easygoing she is. At the same time, as a struggling bounty hunter, she is always eager to take on jobs in hopes of one day paying off her debt. Given how the character is written and whose child she is, it's strange that she isn't the primary protagonist. Instead, Towa is given the primary role in the story, which I'm hesitant to say was a good idea. Towa isn't a bad character, but she's just not very interesting. Towa and Setsuna are okay characters, but Setsuna's hostile attitude and coldness toward Towa in the beginning made me hate her a little. The fact that this show was nominated for Best Character Design in Crunchyroll's Anime Awards is baffling. Most of the designs are just decent at best. I really wasn't a fan of most of the character designs in this show. The best ones were the three demons, Chaka, Kinka, and Kinka. As for the humans, none of them really stood out to me. I hate Toa and Riku the most in terms of their design. I thought Toa was a boy the first time I saw the promotional art for this show before starting the series. I hate when authors make characters look and dress like the opposite sex. I'm not sure whether the author intended for Toa to be gay or tomboyish, but either way I don't like it. To make matters worse, she's voiced by Gon's voice actor, Erica Mendez, who does an awful job. In the beginning, she was okay. She simply sounded like a more feminine Gon, but as the show went on, and maybe this is just me, but it seemed like she lost that feminine tone to the character's voice. She just started to sound like a straight up dude, which to be fair matches the look of the character, but still, she should sound a little bit more feminine. In general, the English dub ranges from serviceable to bad. Some voices don't even match the characters. The voice acting for Setsuna and Moroha were the best in my opinion, but even then, much like many of the performances, it takes some getting used to. To make matters worse, some of the dialogue is poorly written and a little repetitive. The action scenes are average, with decent animation and some adequate looking effects for character attacks. Animation Studio Sunrise does the bare minimum with the action scenes. No fancy camera work or crazy animation so far. One thing I hope to see more of going forward is unique powers or items like Moroha's Rouge or Jakusumaru's bone collecting fan. I thought that those were pretty cool. The fights were really straightforward up until episode 8, in which the characters have to use their head and work a little. The soundtrack is largely forgettable, although the opening and ending songs eventually grew on me. The ending song is very pleasant and relaxing to listen to. The sequences themselves are just average. Overall, so far I think that the show is just okay. I can see myself watching it whenever I get bored. I definitely like this more than the main series, and I think that has a lot to do with the new main cast of characters. They might not be the strongest written characters, but at least there is something here that I can get invested in. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this show in the comment section below so far if you've seen it. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/fearnohate. If there's an anime or a manga that you would like for me to do a review or a first impression style video on, consider becoming a patron and we can make that happen. Anyways, this has been Fear No Hate. I'm out of here. Peace.